My dear beloved conservative friend who suddenly recognizes, wow, there's a lot of wonkiness out there. Is it possible that your newfound wisdom has caused you to become intolerable? Not intolerant. We know how that word gets used wrongly. I'm talking about being intolerable, just being annoying to everybody. Your relationships are struggling, maybe with your spouse. Your kids are like, enough already. You might be right in every single thing that you're saying, but the attitude that accompanies it frequently, for those of us who discover a conservative world of theology, becomes very ugly, helping us to identify if we should be locked in a cage, because we're going through that stage. Stephen L. Troggy, we have 8 to go, but I'm going to save mine, which would be number 9, for the end. Here we go, a sign you should be in a cage. Deep suspicion of anything that might cause the slightest bit of emotion in church, especially those awful worship songs noted above. Permit me to be painfully transparent for a moment. You see, recently I was attending a church service where there was no Bible reading. There was no liturgy. There was nothing to remind me of the greatness of God. They gave me nothing to sing about, and yet we were told by a worship leader, "Come on, church, sing!" Now, I happen to know that music is a wonderful gift from God, and it is the tool, it is the mechanism that we use to express our worship to God. It is not worship itself, but it expresses our worship to God, which must come from our thinkers. It must come from pondering deep thoughts about God, which then causes your heart to say, I got to express myself, and God has given us music and song to do that. So as I was entirely aware of this, and a little bit annoyed that the worship leader, that the people in charge of this service did nothing to address my intellect, I looked at a young woman in front of me during one of the worship songs, which was about as deep as a thimble, and she was worshiping like this. Right? Into it, like this. All right? And sitting behind her, I just ripped her apart. Oh, yeah, right. Oh, there. Oh, how mechanical is that? Thinks my wicked heart. Your brain hasn't even been. How could you possibly do this? Well, maybe she read her Bible before church. Maybe she went to Sunday school. Maybe she listened to a John MacArthur sermon on the way to church, and her heart was ready. Her knowledge had already been filled, and she was just able to enter into worship where I was not. What was wrong with my wicked heart? It's cage stage. It lingers in all of us. You have knowledge. I have knowledge. And we can see things and observe things, and we should. But let's be careful about how far we go so that we don't cross the line into being judgmentalists. We are judgers, but we aren't hypercritical. Yes, we criticize. Yes, we see something wrong, and there's rules to that engagement. But let's be careful that we don't become obnoxious and downright mean, like I was to that young lady. Another sign you should be put into a cage. You've got deep-seated cynicism toward anyone who doesn't take a hard stance on an issue, including, but not limited to, free will, sports, coffee, the Trinity, capitalism, child schooling, and dating. Pretty much anything. You don't agree with me? A number 6 sign you should be in a cage. Being so smug, you begin to panic that you won't be able to adequately manifest all the smugness. Oh, been there, done that. Sign number 5, an unshakable conviction that Tim Keller is too theologically soft. I think he is. Sign number 4, the ability to bring every conversation full circle to Romans 9. That's for you. I'm sorry.
Yes! Oh, wait a second.
Sign number 3, frustration that guys like Piper and Sproul don't draw more lines in the sand. Oh. I've learned from R.C. Sproul. He used to make me so mad by being so thoughtful. I watched him. He's one of the brightest brains that we have in evangelical Christianity. He's a brilliant man, and I wanted to be like, come on, just zing, in degrees of separation. God graciously put the reins on me, and I watched a more mature, godly man, not willing to just ginsu every single thing that came in his path. He used wisdom. He used discernment, and oh yeah, he used love. Another sign you should be in a cage. Number 2, inevitably arriving at the conclusion that John Calvin really wasn't that strong of a Calvinist, at least not as strong as you are. Adrian, did you? And finally, the Stephen L. Troggy number 1, growing a beard, but not in a hipster way. This beard is way different from the hipster beards. That would be a sign right away. Find somebody and just say, please, just cuff me and put me into a cage. What is the number 9 sign that you maybe are experiencing cage stage, even if it's been years since you've discovered conservative theology? At this moment, right now, because I shared this list with you, you're thinking that I have gone to the dark side. Come on, admit it. I'll see you in the cage.